Time to get your fix. It's a horrible gaming podcast. It's not good, it's not great. Horrible gaming podcast. It's not even what you would call fair. It's really not that good. Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Hello, my name is Zachariah Van Sliders with Old Man Gaming. With me is
Knight645, aka Logan.
And welcome to the Quantum Stadium. That's right, we spent all our DARPA money to rent out this giant space time travel stadium so that everybody could be here for the horrible awards. And before we get too far into that, just want to hit you with a disclaimer. As you've probably guessed from this intro, we don't get paid for this. We don't make a lot of money. So we're not going to go back and, well, there will be a lot of editing in this episode, but none of it will produce a good quality product. So that's really the disclaimer. And then we also want to just give credits out to Mark Bell for his graphic at the beginning of the show, and a special one to my brother, Nick Van Sliders, who wrote and performed the opening theme. But we're going to give a lot more credits out today, Logan. And why is that? Because today is the Horrible Game Awards.
Horrible Game Awards!
The moment literally nobody has been waiting for.
You didn't want it, but we're forcing it to you. Welcome.
Nobody wanted it. We are getting together our biggest contributors, the people who have commented the most on Facebook and YouTube. Just to anybody else out there listening, just so you know, everybody here, there are some people we got as just they were previous guests or they were previous contributors, but all the people here are fans. We like to bring you guys on. So if you want to get involved with this show on either Facebook or YouTube, this is the reward. You get to come to the Quantum Stadium, which is a totally real place, and hand out awards that everybody definitely cares about. Without further ado, let's go ahead and start the awards. Welcome to 2019's Horrible Game Awards, presented by Disciple Hard Rock and Knights 645. Now, your hosts, Disciple Hard Rock and Knights 645.
We love you.
Thank you. Quiet. Let us speak for a second. Well, hello, Logan. Welcome to this momentous occasion.
Oh my god. I knew that this place was going to be great when we constructed it, but wow.
I know.
Wow.
It's crazy. And what I do love about the construction is how we were able to design it so that it sounded like we were clapping and cheering for ourselves instead of all the people here doing it, which really helps.
And you would think that it would take us years to build this place, but we did it in like 2 weeks.
I know, right? It just goes to show that a little grit, spit, determination, and imagination goes a long way. So let me ask you a question real quick, top of the order. What award are you most excited to hear about tonight? Of the nominee of all the categories, which one are you most excited about? Excluding Game of the Year, because we're all super excited about that one.
Competitive Game of the Year.
Well, I find it interesting that you chose to be most excited about the award that you are presenting later on tonight.
The award's only as good as the host.
Well spoken, sir. Well spoken. So with that, let's go ahead and go to our first award. Game as Service of the Year.
Feels great to be here in the Quantum Stadium. Almost messed up there. It is amazing. It is so loud in here. I can't even hear myself think. You guys are amazing. And now to introduce the next award, Thor. Nice to have you.
Yes.
Oh, pleasure to be here.
Thor, one of our biggest fans. You are here to present Games as Service of 2019. But before we get down to that, we're giving everybody a chance. What's your pro and what's your con of the Horrible Gaming Podcast?
So this took a lot of very deep and passionate thought to come up with this. But I settled on, I love your guys' insight. It's different, but both are very well thought out. And for me, being a little on the casual side of the gaming community, it's definitely appreciated.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know if I'd use the word well thought out, but thank you.
Oh, you've got a couple good arguments in there that have swayed my opinion.
I just rant like I know what I'm talking about. That's
Well,
that's what most people do.
Hey, the BS comes out flowing good. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, so give it to us. What's your con? What's your roast?
Well, Logan, unfortunately, this kind of goes more against you.
Ooh.
But I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. So the day I die, I'm still gonna call them video games. Sorry.
That is good, Thor. That's some inside one episode rant knowledge right there.
Mm-hmm.
That really is.
Yeah, for all newcomers, if you want to get that reference, go back a couple episodes.
Yes, yeah. We don't have time to explain it now, so go back and listen to them all repeatedly so that we get views. Okay, so one thing about this category, it's Games as Service of 2019. What that means is not that these games came out in 2019, but that these are games that have ongoing large DLC updates in 2019 to make them continually relevant. That's a big point about this game, is that none of these games came out in 2019. They're the games that are the most relevant overall of the games that are ongoing. So, without ado, Thor?
All right. Nominees are Monster Hunter World, Iceborne, Destiny 2, Shadowkeep, For Honor, and Final Fantasy XIV, Shadowbringers.
And that is a tight 4 right there, guys. A tight 4. Man, that is a tough decision. Logan, what's your favorite on this list?
Destiny.
I figured you were going to say that. I figured you were going to say Destiny 2. And you're not wrong. It's great. Obviously, I'm a Monster Hunter World Iceborne guy. The fact that I just started playing it again, and I'm still not done with it, is just something to be said, that game just keeps on going and keeps on trucking. Thor, what's your favorite out of these ones?
Honestly, they're all really solid for a number of reasons. For all of them, they're all great contenders. I had some friends drag me into Final Fantasy XIV a while ago, and the fact that they just keep it rolling, I'm super impressed by. So that's kind of the one that I was pulling for.
Unfortunately, of the games on this list, the only one I haven't personally played is Shadowbringers. But I do want to say the fact that game came out to just terrible critical reviews, people were very hard on it, and that they've just brought it back to such a relevant Games as Service title. And that's not just us and our horrible awards. The whole world will tell you that. That's one of those success stories like No Man's Sky that I think is truly impressive.
Yep, I would agree.
Just to say something about For Honor, that game is still the most innovative and interesting fighting game out there. That continues to get just updates, and as far as a competitive field goes, I mean, that's still my competitive game, my favorite competitive game. So I just want to say something nice about it, because I know we're all kind of rooting for the other ones, but That is a really good game. Ubisoft is the best with just keeping with a game and making it good as long as humanly possible.
That's always true.
All right, so, I think it's time for us to bring out the drum team into the Quantum Studio and get that drum roll ready for Thor, you to go ahead and present the Games of Service of 2019 award. So, drum team, go ahead.
All right. And the winner is Destiny 2 Shadowkeep.
Oh, okay, so the award goes to Destiny 2 Shadowkeep. Who's surprised?
Not me. He deserved it. He earned it.
I don't know.
Boys.
I don't know, Logan. I gotta say, Monster Hunter World, for me, was the clear-cut winner. This is a little bit of an upset, as much as I love Destiny 2. But I think all 4 of these games deserved an award, and Destiny, I'm totally okay with Destiny 2 taking it. What do you think there, Thor?
Yeah, I have my fingers crossed for Final Fantasy 14, but I can't argue with the voters.
Well, and the problem is, I think a lot of our voters are Xbox players, and Final Fantasy XIV is coming to Xbox, but has not made it there yet. However, as I've said before, I want all these awards to kind of be, some of these awards to be kind of like yearly, so like Games of Service can win next year. If Final Fantasy XIV is still relevant next year, it could win,
Oh, there you go.
So you guys want to know how close it was before we end the segment?
Let's hear it.
It was super, super close. Destiny won by 1 vote.
Oh.
Yeah. Monster Hunter World Iceborne was right behind it the entire time.
Dang it. I just feel like this is a personal win over Zach right now. Just trying to announce that.
Well, yeah, I think so. I think it is a personal win for you. Okay, before we go, I'm saying this to everybody. I'm surprising everybody with this. Thor, I want to personally thank you deep down in my heart from me. I know Logan does too. One thing about this show is we appreciate you guys fans. We're small, and we're just doing the best we can with what we have. And I want to thank you very much for listening, for commenting, for supporting. This is the reward you get for being a part of this show. We want you to actually be a part of it. And just thank you, Thor. Thank you for supporting us and allowing us to do this thing that we love so much.
What? Thank you guys for doing it.
All right.
You're welcome.
Well, with that done, thank you, Thor, and we will move on to the next award. Best Cooperative Game.
Jeez, it is crazy to be here in this Quantum Stadium. You guys are just so amazing. And presenting the next award is Phil Billy.
That's right. Phil Billy 330 is here. He's also going to tell us what his pro and con of our horrible gaming podcast is. Phil?
Hey YouTube, how's it going? Phil Billy 330. I want to thank Zach and Logan for having me on once again. I love the show. I want to congratulate you both on your growing success. We're getting up in the 2 digits and subscribers, so that's great. And I see you're following in the footsteps of many American companies. You can afford things like this fabulous Quantum Studio and cover chairs, but somehow can't afford healthcare for your employees and good compensation for your guests. So you're doing great, guys.
Fair enough. Fair. I mean, the reason is Logan. We have to blame Logan for that. He has a secret uncle who has DARPA funds.
Somebody set me in charge of the funds.
Okay.
Okay.
So this year's nominees for Cooperative Game of the Year include the likes of Borderlands 3, Gears 5, The Division 2, and World War Z.
And that is 4 great nominees, if I do say so myself. What are our favorites? Logan, what's your favorites on this list?
Oh, I got Gears 5. I got Gears 5 up there.
Yeah?
I'm really hoping for it. That's true. I've never played Borderlands 3, so can't say anything about that one. But Gears 5 is my ringer to win it.
Honestly, I've got to say I am probably the only person of the 3 of us who have played all 4 of these games.
Well, also, Zach, I want you to know that most of our money from the Quantum Studio is bet on World War Z. So
that's not good. Who was in charge of that bet? Who made that bet? I feel like this was a you thing. I feel like I gave you a job and you fucked it up again.
Don't worry about it. It's going to work out fine.
We're going to be under a grand jury indictment for spending DARPA funds on betting on World War Z.
Yeah, we're missing a lot of legal stuff, but oh well.
What do you think, Phil? What's your favorite on this list? I think we all know what it is.
I mean, I don't think that question needs to be asked, but definitely my pick is Borderlands 3 all the way.
Well, somebody's got to ask the questions that don't need to be asked to keep everybody talking. That's my job on this show.
I have played World War Z, though, and I did enjoy it.
Really? I didn't know you had played World War Z. I did like World War Z. I thought it was a sleeper. I don't think it's got quite enough firepower to take out the big 2. Obviously, I think the big 2 on this one are Gears 5 and Borderlands 3.
Yeah, I mean, I think The Division has a pretty good following as well. Doesn't it?
I played a lot of Division. It's one of those games that, like, it's technically sound. It's really technically sound, but it just didn't grip me, and I think it didn't grip a lot of other people that way, too. I think it's more nominated based on a technical reason, and I think because of that, it's kind of a discounted one.
Yeah, I played the original, and I thought it was a pretty good game.
Yeah, I love the original. I had a hard time. It was weird. I feel like the original actually gripped me a little bit more than the sequel did, and I still honestly don't know why. Like, I played some of the second one, and I just couldn't get into it as much as I got into the first one, so I don't know. But
okay.
All right, I think we've covered all of our our expert analysis of the nominees. So Phil, you have the very metaphorical card with the answer as to who wins this dubious title. So do the honors, Phil. Who is Horrible Gaming Podcast's best cooperative game of 2019?
All right, let me open the envelope.
We got to get the drummers in here for the drum roll. Are you ready, drummers?
We're ready.
1, 2, 3.
And your cooperative game of the year is Borderlands 3.
Borderlands 3!
Worth all of our money.
Surprising, not a whole lot of people. Now, since we've unveiled it, and I can respectively say, and I'll probably be saying this on all of them, I know all the winners because I'm the only guy who does any of the paperwork on this show. So
I did not know any of the winners.
I got the honor of tallying all the votes. So this is the part of the segment that I like to call, How Close Was It? Do you guys want to know how close it was?
I do.
We do.
Very much so. With all the votes tallied, it was a 4-3 victory for Borderlands 3. And the second placer was Gears 5. It was
so close.
A tight race, ladies and gentlemen. A tight race. And no votes in the other one. We did have some close categories. That one was a real nail biter, in my opinion. But
well, in the end, the superior game came out on top.
Oh, there it is. He's got to drop the mic. Well, we'll have to wait and see if your superior game doubles up and wins Game of the Year this year. And I just want to thank you, Phil Billy 330, for all your support the times you've been on the show. We're going to have you on again when the first Borderlands DLC comes out. And just thank you, man. Thank you for contributing and being a part of this. We really appreciate it. We do.
Thank you for providing an hour of entertainment for me once a week, both of you guys. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Well, as long as people like you keep listening, we'll keep making it. And thanks, man. Really, this is one of the things about this show is we really want this show to be about thanking the people who make this show possible. You're one of those people, so thanks, man. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. So, with that said, we will be right back with another horrible game awards award thing. Best competitive game. All right, welcome back. Here we go. Another award here in the Quantum Stadium. And our next award is Best Competitive Game. And here to present it is my very own co-host, Logan, a.k.a. Knight645. Knights, welcome. Thanks for being here at this thing that I'm forcing you to do. And give me your pro and con, buddy.
What's up? I'm not introducing the person this time. Wow.
Excitement!
We're gonna go with the pro. This has gone way longer than I thought it was. We're like 3 months in. Holy crap!
Sustainability. Pro is the sustainability.
And I love how we can just go in and talk and other people listen to us. Love it. It's exactly what I like about the world. And then my con is that I gotta wake up at 9 a.m. to do this.
Just think of it as training for being a functioning member of society at some point. All right.
And the nominations are... Gotta get this envelope open. Okay. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, For Honor, Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Rainbow Six Siege.
That is an interesting 4. And just one thing I want to just shout out to everybody listening. Our best competitive game category is one of those that it's games from any year. It's best game that is still competitive in the year that you're in. But the game could have come out at any time.
Just so if it's game to service and it's still going, we're still putting it in.
Right. So and it's got to also be competitive in nature. So it's got to be mostly PvP. And so this is one that you could win repeated years, given we're still managing to do this in a year.
Sure.
So what do you think of the nominations there, Logan?
Those are really competitive nominations. Wink, wink.
I like the wink wink, man. I like the wink wink. Yeah, I think they're really great nominations. I mean, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, awesome on here. For Honor, we all know how much I love For Honor and how much I will also always tote it as the most interesting and unique fighting game there is out there.
It really is.
Smash Brothers Ultimate has been on a lot of Game of the Year nominations. I think it's actually on our Game of the Year nominations list as well.
I believe it is.
And then Rainbow Six Siege. 2 Ubisoft games on here. 2 of them that came from launch disaster to success.
Really did.
Fortnite's not on here. But I'm happy about that.
Very happy about that. It's our awards. Fortnite doesn't get on here. Get it out.
I mean, hey, Fortnite gets a nomination at every other award show every year. You know what? They can bite us. And honestly, from what I hear, they didn't do that good this year anyway. So, but
I don't believe so.
I don't want to spend all the time talking about why we didn't pick Fortnite. Let's talk about why we picked the other stuff. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. I love the stuff that they've done this year with the seasons and the weapon customization and specialization. I think that's all really interesting stuff, and they've really managed to put a lot of cool reasons to put people into that game, to bring people into that game.
If you ever wanted a game without all the craziness of someone's imagination, just some real war stuff,
yeah,
this is it.
Well, and as far as battle royales go, every battle royale has kind of a hook, and I think if you want the realism hook, and granted, it's not perfectly real, but if you want it to be as realistic as you can possibly make it, I think that's the one. I really do. Like, Call of Duty is too fast and arcade shooty, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is.
Fortnite's insane. It's got laser guns and stuff. And then, Apex Legends, same thing. Everybody's got powers. If you want just kind of like a gritty, like, the gun statistics are very real. It's PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds all the way. Smash Brothers Ultimate, I want to give it its fair time, but at the same time, there's not really much else to say about it. That game is amazing, and I don't like Nintendo. I've never even played this game, and I know it's amazing.
I played it a couple times, and I'm telling you, if you get a couple of your friends to just come over and play some Smash Bros. Ultimate, you're going to have a good time.
Right.
It's a great game.
Right. Rainbow Six Siege, that's another one that it came from nothing. Like, it was launched disaster, and now it's one of the most highly regarded competitive games out there. And I don't think that they let anybody down in 2019 with continual add-ons and new specialists. I think the playable specialists in that game, they're up to like 50 or something like that?
They're up to a lot.
It's ridiculous. For Honor, not too far behind, kind of following the same path. They're still releasing new content. They just released another character. And it's another one of those where they're just going to keep that thing going. As long as people are playing it, they're going to keep coming out with it. And I love that. That's true games as servicemanship. But
yeah, For Honor is really just creative. I'll give them creative for that.
Yeah.
Because there's no other competitive game out there quite like that.
No, there really isn't. And speaking as somebody who plays it, there's just not, from a fighting standpoint, if you want like fighting games, they're always like very arcadey, This is just, it's a very down-to-earth sword fighting game, and I love that. Love that about it. Okay, so without further ado, let's bring out the drum roll team and find out who this winner is, Logan. All right. Drum roll team is in place. Drum roll.
And the winner is PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
Yeah! Oh my God, how hard was it for you to say PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds so many times instead of just saying PUBG?
It was a pain. It was really a pain.
I was expecting you just to say PUBG. I'm not gonna lie. Like, all cards on the table, I am truly impressed that you took the time to be like, I'm gonna say PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
It's literally like saying Buffalo Wild Wings instead of saying B-dubs. It's so challenging.
So PlayerUnknown's Battleground is the winner. I think, honestly, this is a little bit of an underdog. Just because,
it definitely is.
Just because of who was in this category, I'm kind of surprised it won. But it actually won pretty wholeheartedly. It won by a full 2 votes, and when you're only voting with like 7 people and some of them can abstain, it was a pretty substantial victory for PUBG. So congratulations to them.
I didn't think that PUBG was going to win. I had Smash Bros, and then besides that, I had Rainbow.
Yeah, I didn't think they were going to win either, but they got almost all the votes.
But that is my favorite game on this list, so...
Yeah, which is why you had to be the person to call it.
I'm pretty good at PUBG.
Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and move on to the next award. Best mobile game or app of 2019.
Dang, these lights are really bright. Well, thanks again for having me, and I just love being the host. And now, to announce the next award, it is the tallest man I've ever known. You can obviously see him. Kev Too Tall.
Hey everyone, I'm Kev Too Tall. Real name's Kevin, and it is a pleasure to be here today.
Hi, Kevin. Thank you for being here, and thank you for presenting this award. But before we get to that, I asked everybody to give us pros and cons on a horrible gaming podcast. It's your turn, buddy. What's the up and down?
The upside would definitely have to be I am a very large fan of the absolutely raw format. Editing sometimes just really breaks the flow, even though it's supposed to enhance the flow. And then I think the con would be, I think, possibly the underutilage of either possibly having a spare cell phone to do some sound effects.
Yeah, I would love to have a soundboard. That'd be amazing.
Don't even need a soundboard because you could just, even if you have a tablet laying around.
I got my computer. I don't know why I don't just use my computer. The speakers are loud enough, it'd pick it up on my phone.
There you go. See? Creativity happening live during the award ceremony.
Right. Well, I thank you for the rawness compliment. We definitely keep it pretty raw. I do all of this with phone calls and...
what are you talking about? We are in a beautiful studio stadium right now.
I forgot about the DARPA.
Giant stadium.
The DARPA funds, the Quantum Stadium.
A three-way conference call.
Powered by hot air.
Quantum Stadium.
Technology. And the nominees for Best Mobile Game and App of the Year are first, Pokemon Showdown, Gundam Battle, Gunpla Warfare, Auto Chess, and the perennial favorite, PUBG Mobile.
All right. I think those are great nominees for mobile. Some dark horses here. Why don't we talk about it a little bit? Kevin, how many of these have you played? Which one do you like?
I have looked at Pokemon Showdown. I have played Auto Chess and PUBG Mobile. Gunpla Warfare is totally new to me, but before the show, I did catch up just enough to know what it's about, and it's something I may actually look into now, because that's actually one of my favorite random topics in the anime world, and I play enough Pokemon in other formats. I don't need it on my phone too.
What about you, Logan?
I got PUBG winning it.
You got
I
PUBG.
got PUBG.
Of course you got PUBG.
I always come out swinging with a winner, and I think PUBG's got this one. They're popular.
They are
it's a
popular. And
fantastic
can I just
game.
say that for ports from video games to mobile, I don't know that there's a better one out there. Like, if we're just talking about ports, I don't think there's a better port out there. I've played PUBG Mobile. I've also played everything. Well, I've also played Auto Chess, and I actually really like Auto Chess. I would put Auto Chess over PUBG Mobile. I think that game is a lot of fun, and I'm into these mobile games that aren't translated well, because you get this. If they're well done and the play is good. There's also this other game I've been playing called My Turn, where it's like the game is fun, but then all the translation is terrible. So like it's just like all your bases belong to us stuff the entire time, which makes me giggle the whole time. Okay, without further ado, let's bring out the drum roll team to get ready for this thing. Drum roll team is ready.
And the mobile game app of the year belongs to, no surprise, Pokemon Showdown.
Dang.
I mean, really, you can't stop a juggernaut. It's their second mobile app, and technically, it's a little better than the original, and it's closer to what everybody wants as a mobile Pokemon game.
You know, one of our regular people, Phil Billy, loves Pokemon Showdown. Like, loves Pokemon Showdown. He fought really hard to even get it on the list in the first place, and it's a winner, which is great. But from what I understand, it is like it's the strategy Pokemon game, like one of the singular better strategy Pokemon games out there.
I've heard it's pretty good.
You know, and if you don't want graphics, and you're upset about all the Pokédex malarkey that's happened with Sword and Shield, I think that's a good place to go, honestly.
It's definitely a good step up from Pokemon Go.
That's true. I have heard they've done a lot to Pokemon Go to make it a little bit better, but
well, I mean,
I enjoyed Pokemon Go.
It's literally just there's no real battling to it. It's just
that's true.
Literally a catch 'em game.
I've heard that they've started adding the battling stuff. Have they not yet?
Well, I mean, there's always been the battles at like gyms and whatnot.
Oh, those are terrible though. They need to just make it the way it was, where it was like a strategy back and forth.
Yes.
The gym battles that have always been is just literally like tapping on a screen feverishly to kind of do a move.
Yeah.
Like you feverishly to do your basic move, and then you get to do the super move if you charged up on the basic attacks. That wasn't how that isn't Pokemon.
Yeah. I agree. I completely agree. If that game had the battling, I think I would play a lot more.
Traditional battling.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so you guys want to know how close this one was?
I do.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested because I would think it would be a little closer.
It was pretty close. Pokemon Showdown had 3. Auto Chess was right behind it with 2, and only 1 vote for PUBG. And 1 vote for Gunpla.
Only 1 vote. That is really surprising.
You know, I think this category is one of the rare times when we are looking at not so much the consumers at large, but at the people that we've put into this group to decide the winners.
The voting base.
Yeah, I think I think any award system is open to that kind of stuff. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to take anything away from Pokemon Showdown. I'm sure it is a great app, and it deserves this award. But I think PUBG probably would have gotten a little bit more points if you just put it out there to the voting public. But PUBG is great. I want to try Pokemon Showdown at some point. This makes me want to try it, which is really good. Okay. So with that said, the award is presented, but I do want to add a little bit at the end here, which I've been adding to all of these little segments, and that's Kev Too Tall, personally, we just want to thank you. I mean, this show is really important to us. We have a lot of fun doing it. We wouldn't be able to do it without people like you who comment on the show and regularly contribute to it. So we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for allowing us to do something that we love so much for as long as we've been doing it. We're going on like 6 months now. So thank you. Seriously.
Thank you for having me. And you guys are a joy to listen to, especially when you squabble back and forth about things.
Oh,
thank you.
It's literally all we do is squabble. I think if there was any one problem with the Neil episode is that we didn't fight enough.
Right.
Yes. A tiny wizard agrees too much.
I think me and a tiny wizard are like same tastes, whereas Logan is very different person.
Very different person.
Yeah, you need counterpoint.
But thank you for being on this show, man. Thank you. Yeah. So with that, we will go to another award. Best digital only game. Hello. Quantum Stadium, all these fans are here. We are now here to see the best digital-only game, and we have a very special presenter, and that presenter is Mark Bell, the maker of our graphics at the beginning and all of our special graphics. Mark, say hello.
Hello, everyone. You're welcome, I'm sure.
Everybody's doing it, so what's your up and your down? What's your pro and your con for the show?
All right. So the pro is that this is absolutely, hands down, the best horrible gaming reviews podcast that has ever existed. My con is that it makes it really hard to make an acronym out of HGR. Just gonna throw that out there. It's like home garden reviews or something. Who's up there?
Yeah, it's true. And if you do the whole title, it's like A Horrible Gaming Podcast, so it'd be like AHG. It would be insane.
Yeah. And then it's like the game of the year, so it's like AHGPGOQI. Like, there's nothing you can make out of that.
We're just
Gotta
going to
plan
cut
your
down the
acronyms
title
better.
to HOR and just be whore.
There you go. Perfect. Perfect. Horrible online reviews. Done.
That's not taken, right?
It is now. I don't know.
Okay.
All right. And the nominees for this year's award in Best Digital Only Release Game, we have After Party, Remnant from Ashes, War Groove, and Untitled Goose Game.
Those are some good nominees right there. I got to ask, have you played any of these, Mark? I know you're not a big gamer, but...
I am not a big gamer. I have dabbled in the Goose Game, mostly because it's very, very casual.
Peace was never an option.
No.
They should have honestly never called that Untitled Goose Game. They should straight up have called it Peace Was Never an Option because of all those memes. That game has definitely taken things by storm. I think it's a heavy favorite. Although, just to touch on the other games, I have actually played all the games on this list except for except for Untitled Goose Game, surprisingly enough. And they're all good games on the opposite side. War Groove is a very tactical kind of role-playing game, akin to like old school Shining Force for Genesis.
Right on.
We've talked about Remnant from Ashes on the show a couple of times. It's one of those games, and I also did a review on that one. It's a really fun game, really fun shooter, kind of Dark Souls meets Borderlands, if you can imagine that in your head.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the other one is After Party, which I had rave reviews for After Party. I loved After Party. It's a very dialogue-heavy story game about two college friends who die and go to hell.
Wow.
Yeah,
Right.
What's great about it, though, is the idea behind it is that these two college kids have to drink their way out of hell. They have to challenge Satan to a drinking contest and defeat him. And that's how they get out of hell. So, like, the whole thing takes place as, like, a bar crawl across hell. And it's very interesting. So they're all great games. But, yeah. All right, well, Mark, I guess there's nothing else to do. We're gonna bring out the drum rollers, and then after the drum roll, why don't you just go ahead and announce the winner, and then we'll talk about that for a second. So,
all right, let me get my nomination card here.
We got to roll out the drums. Rolling out the drums. Here they go.
And the winner is Untitled Goose Game.
Untitled Goose Game. UGG. I can't say that I wasn't surprised that one won.
I mean, it is the meme generator of the last, 6 weeks or so.
It is.
I mean, it's crossed over into my Gundam groups. They've made it into a tall geese because it's a goose, and then there's a wing Gundam chasing it. It's insane.
It's huge. That Goose Game, I think, is bigger than anybody expected it to, even the developers. With that done, I do want to let everybody know we've been doing this. We're doing this at a little mini segment at the end of each of these segments, which is how close was it? And just so that everybody knows, because I'm not in suspense. I know the winners because I do all the paperwork for the show.
Shockingly.
Right. Goose Game destroyed the competition in this one. Absolutely destroyed the competition in this one. It was 5 votes to I think one of the other one. Unfortunately, I am recording this currently in my car, so I don't have the actual vote count in front of me. But yeah, I think it was 5 to 1 to 1 to 0. Nobody voted for Goose Game. I voted for After Party once and Remnant once, and then I think everybody else voted for Goose Game. So. It was pretty amazing. So, Mark, this is the other part of these segments that I've been taking to just thank everybody who has participated in this, including you. Thank you for participating. Thank you for also being one of the people who keeps this show going. From the bottom of our heart, this one thing about this show that we wanted to do was make it about appreciating our fans, and we really appreciate you. You keep us going. Thank you, Mark, for all your help and the awesome graphics in the beginning.
Well, thanks for having me on. It's been really fun working with you guys so far, and I'm looking forward to what we can do next.
Definitely. Best new IP of 2019.
What's up, everybody? It's your host, Night645. I'm here with all you wonderful people, and our next guest host is none other than the main host of the podcast. The reason that any of this is a thing, the reason that I got to make these crazy, non-fake stadiums, Zach, aka Disciple Hard Rock.
Thank you very much, Logan. It is a pleasure to be here at this show that I am also hosting. And thank you for your kind words, sir. I appreciate it. And today we are... Oh, wait, no. Did you want to ask me for something?
Zach, if you had to give a pro and a con of this podcast, what would that be?
A pro and a con of this podcast. Well, that's a tough one. I'm going to have to say the pro is the people who are involved in this show, this specific award show, the people who we've chosen to invite on, have just make my day every time they comment on any of this, every time they view any of this, and anytime they give us a reason to tell our friends and family that it's okay for us to spend too much time doing this. I think that's the pro. That's the pro right there.
Really is. We love you guys.
Yeah, and the con is Ninja. I know he has nothing to do with this show, but I'm sick of talking about him, and he keeps coming up, and we have to cover it because we're a gaming show, and it's driving me nuts. My con is 100% Ninja. We've had to cross off subjects that I wanted to talk about because that idiot got on Twitter, and that just irritates me. It irritates me so much. He's a show ruiner, so Ninja is my con for this show. I am here for a little bit of business, and that is to present the nominees and the award for Best New Intellectual Property of 2019. So, just so that everybody knows, this is the best new game of 2019 with that isn't a sequel, that isn't a remake. This is a new intellectual property, a new world to get involved in. And I'm very happy to be presenting this award, but let's get the nominees out there first. The nominees for Best New Intellectual Property of 2019 are The Outer Worlds, Control, Remnant from Ashes, and Anthem. So, let's talk about the nominees, Logan. I know you want to talk about at least one of them.
Why?
Look, alright, I'm going to come clean to everybody out there going, why is Anthem on any of our lists? I forced it to be on one of the things, and I think it belongs in this specific spot because while the game has serious issues and was not on a whole good, it was a really cool new intellectual property. It was a really cool new world. And I'll spoil it. It's not winning. I think we all know that. But it had a really cool new world that I really want to play in. The javelins were really cool. Unfortunately, the game around that new world wasn't great. So there was that.
Yeah, it was a great concept. Just here's some robots and go shoot some stuff.
I mean, you gotta admit,
awesome.
The world was interesting. Like,
yes,
you played through the story. The world was interesting.
Monsters, explosions, it
Yeah.
really feeds into testosterone.
Yeah, it's great. I just wish the game had been better. So let's not spend the whole time talking about the nomination of Anthem and how it probably shouldn't be nominated for anything. The other ones, Control, Remnant from the Ashes, The Outer Worlds. How many of these have you played? Any of them?
I don't think I've played any of them.
Okay, well, I have played 3 out of the 4 nominees. I have not played Control, unfortunately. And don't get me wrong, everybody, we're not the only people deciding, so it had a straight-up real chance. But I hear Control's really good, and I believe IGN has already named it its Game of the Year. So
I've seen it a little bit, and it's really cool.
Yeah, it's definitely something I want to try. If it ever comes to Games Pass, I will try it and definitely review it. The Outer Worlds, I am a huge fan of The Outer Worlds. I love The Outer Worlds. The Outer Worlds is probably my Game of the Year. It's just so good, so fresh, so new. I know that the actual play style follows Fallout, like old school Fallout games, which I kind of feel like it was better than that too. Like, they did some upgrades on it, like the tactical time dilation instead of the VATS. I hated VATS in the original Fallout games. It just slowed the game down. So, and Remnant from Ashes is basically like Dark Souls but with guns.
Sure.
And I love Remnant from Ashes too. Like, both of those I put quite a few hours into. So, so what do you think, Logan? Do you want to call the drum roll team?
I think we're gonna call it the yep. Here they come.
Okay.
Here they come. They're starting.
And the winner is, for Best New IP in 2019, The Outer Worlds. Ah, yeah! Woo! So there I have it, Logan. I think the right one won. Honestly, I love The Outer Worlds. I think that one was definitely the clear-cut favorite on that one.
I think I seen that coming.
Yes. So I do want to take this time, as I've done with all the segments, to tell you how close the vote was. And the vote was actually pretty close. Outer Worlds only won by 1.
Ooh.
And I know everybody's wondering, no, Anthem didn't get any votes. I didn't think it would, just wanted it on the list.
It gets 1 pity vote out of nowhere. No.
I do want to take this time, since it's my time, and we usually take the time to thank the person presenting the award, but since this one's me, I just want to thank you, Logan. I mean, this podcast is mildly successful, at the very least. We're up to 20 episodes now. We've been doing this for 6 months, and I don't see either one of us stopping. And what's really weird, I think, as far as reliability goes of people who I've tried to work with in the past, you're probably one of the number 1 people that I can rely on, which is really weird, seeing as though you're a 19-year-old from Michigan who I've never actually met in person.
It's true. You never met me. Random person.
So I just want to say thank you, man. If we hadn't started playing Apex Legends together, I do not think we would be doing this stuff. I certainly wouldn't have 64 subscribers on YouTube.
Thank you.
Best single-player game of 2019.
Jeez, it is great to be here. Great to be handing out awards and just hosting an award show. I knew that it would happen eventually. I thought that it would be like the Emmys or the Oscars, but this is okay. It's okay, too, I guess.
Well, in the words of Jose Ferris, fuck the Oscars. You want to introduce the presenter?
And now, presenting the next award, Neil.
Hi, Neil. Before you present the award, sorry everybody, inside joke, but technical difficulties have been amiss this morning. But before you present the award, we asked everybody to do a pro and a con of horrible gaming as a whole. So take it away, buddy.
All right. Well, I'll tell you, the pro, the pro, this show, you guys are doing fantastic. it's actually somewhat, this is going to be a little semi-mush here, but it's actually kind of inspirational that you guys are able to do this podcast just kind of on your own volition, like y'all got lives, everything like that. And I had actually considered at one point these lines myself. Can't do it. I don't think I can do it. I have so much stuff going on in my life, and you guys have lives too, and you've managed to do it just fine. That's like, you know what? If they can do it, I can do it. So, I mean, I guess in that regard, thanks, guys.
Thank you, man. If we were actually in a place together, I'd give you a hug. That I appreciate that.
Dang, tears in my eyes right now. You don't even know.
Aw.
So, with that, I'm going to tell you how y'all suck. No. No. No, I think we, at least Zach and I have had a brief conversation about this a couple times before. I just wish there was an easier way to record all of this, especially given everything that's happened this morning with the technical difficulties. Now just kind of puts the flag in it.
Yeah, I definitely need to find a better way to do this. I wish Anchor allowed you to pause the recording. If it did, I would just use Anchor, but it just doesn't let you pause the recording ever. So frustrating.
Yeah.
But okay.
Poor design on that end.
Yeah, seriously. I don't understand. You would think, I don't know. One.
And the nominees for Best Single Player Experience in 2019 are Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, Kingdom Hearts 3, Devil May Cry 5, and The Outer Worlds.
All right, those are some nice nominees, I think, for single player
really
experience.
Nice nominees.
Yeah, I mean, I think 2019, if you want to sum up the single player experience, those are the 4 best games to do so.
Yeah, I have played most of these games. Not so much Sekiro, because that's not necessarily my jam per se, but Kingdom Hearts 3, I absolutely have played and have been one of those rabid fans, waiting for this third entry. Devil May Cry 5 was a game that we didn't think was ever going to happen after the DMC reboot.
Right.
And The Outer Worlds, I mean, that on its own, that's this weird FU Bethesda success story that everybody's just talking about.
Well, and it's a perfect time for an FU Bethesda story, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I unfortunately have only played 2 of these games, and I didn't play Devil May Cry that much. It's just not my bag of a game, to be honest. But I have personally mocked you about your Kingdom Hearts 3 love many times over the years, and I'm proud of that.
Oh, yes. And, and many years is very apt because this game took about 7 years to come out.
Yeah. I tell you what, Logan, when Kingdom Hearts 3 actually did come out, I did post somewhere on Neil's Facebook page that I was upset that I couldn't continue to make fun of him for being so interested in vaporware anymore. Because every time he'd post something about it, I would post in the comments, this game is never coming out. It doesn't exist.
Well, it almost didn't. They started work on it. It was 2 years in. They had to scrap development and swap engines. And,
right.
Tetsuya Nomura just can't stop development, even though that.
Right. Well, and we've got Sekiro as well on there, and I didn't play that game, but that looks very interesting. And FromSoft is just an interesting thing all the way around as well.
Yeah, Sekiro, I heard good things about. I have not played, like I said, per se, but I mean, it's your typical FromSoft fare in an Asian setting, and it's a very true Asian setting. I believe they only have Japanese voice actors doing everything. Like they didn't localize it at all, which adds to that real feel for it.
Yeah, I like that. So, all right, we're bringing in the drum roll team. We're about to announce the winner.
Here they come.
All right, and here we go.
The winner is Kingdom Hearts 3!
Okay, Kingdom Hearts 3 won it. Neil, congratulations to you. Your Vaporware Weirdo game got an award.
That's a win for you.
It is, and I'm glad that 3 finally came out, and that this game got some sort of award. I mean, it's definitely one of those games that you can't just jump right in. Anyone who attempted to play Kingdom Hearts 3 as their first entry, I'm sorry, you're not going to get the full appreciation for it. But those of us who have been with the series from the jump, it's just nice to see an actual third entry in the series after it's been 15, 20 years, something along those lines.
Well, and, it did get a lot of nominations. I wasn't sure it'd actually win. So let's just go ahead and do the little after segment that we've been doing, which is how close was it? And let me tell you, sir, this is one of the closest categories there was. Kingdom Hearts 3 was like won by one vote. Sekiro and Outer Worlds both had 2s. So it was real close.
Oh, my. Yeah, I mean, it was up against some pretty stiff competition.
It was.
I mean, Outer Worlds on its own, that is up for the official VGAs, and I believe this Game Awards as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's in both, and I think if that game doesn't win, I'm going to be depressed. If Death Stranding wins, I'm going to riot. But we don't have time to go into that conversation. I do want to take this time. We're taking this time at the very end of all the segments. Neil, thank you for contributing to the show, for being a guest so many times, for helping us out when we needed it, and for commenting and contributing. We could not do this show without guys like you. We could not do any of this without guys like you. And one of the things about this show that I wanted to make sure is that everybody felt included. And this award show is also kind of like an honor to you guys. We want to thank you guys for allowing us to do this thing that we love so much. So thank you, Neil. Seriously.
I mean, I thank you guys very much. Anytime that you have me on, read any of my content, anything like that, I absolutely appreciate it. It makes me feel a part of something, however small it may be right now. But, I mean, y'all are growing. I can one day be an OG.
We're trying. I got 63 subscribers. 63 and counting. So, all right. So, with that segment done, we're going to move on to another award. Game of the Year 2019. Everybody, this is it. This is it, Logan. We're at the final mark, the final checkpoint of the show, the gold standard that everybody holds their head up to. This is the Horrible Game Awards Game of the Year 2019. The best game of 2019 according to, like 7 people on the internet who have their own podcast who very few people care about.
Yes! It's what everyone looks forward to.
Perfect reaction. Thank you. Perfect reaction. I bring him down, you bring him back up again. It's a great dynamic we got going on here. It's a great dynamic. And because we are the guys who do the show, and it's good to be the kings, even if you're Kings of Turd Mountain, we're going to call the Game of the Year award by ourselves. It's ours to call, right?
I wear the crown very lightly.
So, I do want to say it's been a crazy 20 episodes, Logan. It's been a crazy 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, did you think we would manage to keep doing this for as long as we have?
I'm still surprised. As we're doing it, I'm surprised.
Yeah, I'm surprised we make this work every week. I'm surprised we get listens. We've got an estimated audience of like 20 people, I think, like that listen to us regularly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Via either YouTube or audio version. So this is exciting, and I definitely want to. Well, I'll hold that part to the end. Do you want to read the nominations and I'll read the winner, or do you want to do the winner and I'll do the nominations?
Well, since I don't have the envelope in my hand,
you want to do the winner?
I'll do the winner.
Okay. All right. So I do have the envelope in my hand. Let me just open it real quick. Rip, tear, tear. So the nominations for Game of the Year 2019. Now, just so that everybody knows, this was decided by the most initial nominations by the group of 7. So not even the nominations were picked by me on this one. They were picked by everybody. So the people, the nominations that were picked were not picked by me, whereas the other categories, in a lot of ways, they were. These were actually picked by the Council of 7 people. And then voted on by those 7 people. So, with that said, the nominations are Borderlands 3, The Outer Worlds, Kingdom Hearts 3, and Smash Brothers Ultimate. So let's talk about the nominations for a second, Logan. What do you think about these nominations?
They're some good nominations.
I think they're solid. I hate to see Kingdom Hearts on here. ATW would hate me for saying it, but that game just drives me. So anyway, I think what's interesting about these nominations is we are, as far as I know, the only people who have nominated Borderlands 3 as a Game of the Year. Everybody else snubbed them.
Everybody else snubbed them, and I don't know how.
I have a theory on that. I think that's probably for another show to get into, but I think very secretly everybody's mad at them for what they did on their review copy.
Yeah, it do be like that sometimes.
I think it's 100% payback. So, but aside from that, we nominated them because we don't nominate based on that bullshit. We nominate based on what the best games were.
We don't snub.
Right. I think The Outer Worlds is an obvious choice. I loved The Outer Worlds. The Outer Worlds, without a doubt, was my game of the year. Whether it wins or not, it was mine. And that's a tough one because Borderlands 3 and Monster Hunter Iceborne are up there for me. But The Outer Worlds, it just is. It's just such a solid experience from start to finish. And its replayability is there. It's just an amazing game. Kingdom Hearts 3, the story, I don't know. Like, it's on there.
Yeah.
Did you play Kingdom Hearts? Are you a Kingdom Hearts guy?
I've never played Kingdom Hearts.
I played the first one, and I had a moment where I was playing it. I got really excited when I got the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, and then I realized how excited I was that I got the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, and then I was like, I don't want to fucking play this anymore. Still, it is a game that everybody loves. It's a big trilogy ender, and you know it's on here for a reason. It's a good game. People like that game. As insane as what I understand the story has become, but it's also a long awaited game. People have been waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3 for like 10 years.
They have.
And then, of course, Smash Brothers Ultimate. I don't think there's any question that should be on there. It's a great game, great fighting game. Wouldn't even be unhappy if it won, and I'm not a Nintendo guy.
Agreed.
Anytime you make a fighting game and you got 70 characters in it, you get my respect.
Yeah, actually.
So, Let's do it. Let's announce the game of the year, man. That would be you. You've got the envelope now. I have handed it to you about 4 or 5 times. So I'm hoping you still got it in your hand, and you're ready to open it and read it. So drum roll team, get out here one final time. Drum roll.
And the winner is Borderlands 3.
Oh,
Woo!
that is big news. Not only do we not snub them, but they win. And I hate to say it, I kind of feel like they should have. I mean, I love Outer Worlds. That's definitely my game of the year. But I think overall, Borderlands 3 hit more people, checked more boxes, and just overall had more people interested. So what do you think, Logan? Do you like how it came out?
Yeah. He was either there or Super Smash Bros. So I really respect Borderlands 3, and I respect the voters. Do
you want to know how close it was?
I do.
It was super close. It's absolutely super close. It was a 2-way tie for second place, and every place was separated by only one vote.
Ooh.
So every one of these got a vote, and the winner only won by one vote, and then the two in the middle only had one vote between that and the last one too. So it was a very split decision.
That's a lot more votes for Kingdom Hearts than I would have assumed, but
yeah.
Dang.
Well, a tiny wizard is in our panel.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Okay, so congratulations to Gearbox and Borderlands 3 on winning an award you will never care about, nor you will ever get, because we don't actually have any physical awards. But that brings us to the end of this show, the end of the Horrible Game Awards. So I'm going to go ahead and say, instead of our shameless promotion, I want to thank you guys, the guys who listened, the guys who comment, the guys who subscribe. I want to thank everybody who came onto the show to help us out with it. And those people are Mark Bell, Thor Zednick, Kevin Kaiser, Neil Simpson, A Tiny Wizard, and I'm missing one, aren't I? Oh, and of course, Phil Blazik, who helps me out with the show. I also want to thank everybody who was also in the panel. My brother was actually in the panel. We couldn't get time away for him to actually present an award, but I wanted to send thanks out to him for participating in the panel as well. So thank you guys. This show was really for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's huge. I know it's huge because I'm going to have to edit it. And you know what I found really interesting, Logan?
What?
Nobody recorded at the same time, other than you and I, and nobody gave the same pro and con.
That's completely true.
Yeah,
it's like they were in sync.
Yeah, I was expecting doubles somewhere, but nobody had a double anywhere, and that was crazy to me, like Twilight Zone insane.
Yeah, I just gotta thank everybody. That pro and con, we put them on the spot for that. We didn't really give them any heads up on that, and they all gave us actually really good pro and cons. I thought that they were gonna pick out something really simple. They put some thought into it on the spot like that, and that was really good. Shout out to you guys.
Yeah, seriously, shout out to you guys. Thank you for letting us do this every week and giving us a reason to come back and do it again. And as long as you guys keep listening to this and keep watching these, we will continue to make them. So for the Horrible Game Awards, I'm Zach Van Sliders, Old Man Gaming. With me as always is
Knights 645, aka Logan.
Thank you everybody, and good night.